Hey everybody, Headspace Connections. We're doing a video that's going to be a little bit different. Now, we decided to do this video because, like I said, with some of our previous videos, we find a lot of systems that are very questioning to their validity because of certain alters that they have or may not have. And this is kind of a message for systems, DID, OSDD, or otherwise. But we wanted to bring out that it's important to remember that different systems have different needs, and systems may or may not have one or more alters from each of the above video jobs. Like I said, we even put videos of alters that we think are probably unique to our own system, which may or may not be the case. We don't know. We've not heard of people that have talked about having these kinds of alters in their system. That's why we put the video out there, to kind of help people see that you don't have to have a certain kind of alter, a certain amount of alters to be valid. Now, smaller systems in particular, alters might hold multiple roles, some of which may be even contradictory, like a persecutor that may strive to protect from outsiders. He's also a persecutor, but also a fight part, that if anybody were to try to hurt you, hurt the system in some way, they're going to be one of the first ones to be ready to throw down. Or say like a child that handles financial things, which is not something you're really going to be commonly hearing, I'm sure, because our littles I would not trust with our finances at all, but you never know. There are some systems that do that. Now, there are other alters that might hold rules that are more specific to the system and would be difficult to define or generalize otherwise. Like I said, with some of the videos that we did of alters that are more unique for us, some of them we didn't even know how to really define or generalize them. The only thing we knew was what the specific job that they did. Now, alters can even hold unexpected roles, like we mentioned earlier, like child alters that handles the finances, or may even be a persecutor. While also fragments may be defined by their roles, other parts may be able to act in more complex and less reactive ways than what fragments might do. Now, more developed alters will be able to handle a wider variety of roles if necessary for the system's continued functioning. As we mentioned with fragments, they can develop, they can grow, and they can change with use and or if it's necessary. That's why it bugs us so much when we hear people talk about alters and consider them to be basically non-essential or non-important, which a term you guys may have been hearing is NPC, or for those that are familiar with the gaming industry, non-playable characters. But from what we have heard from other systems is basically these are fragment alters that have no purpose whatsoever. They're just there to take up space, which we find to be absolutely ridiculous. We don't even know how that belief came to being about, but that's just a point we want to emphasize, is to be very careful about what you call your alters, what kind of terms that you use for them. When we come up with our terms for our alters, we are very careful that they do not hold some kind of negative connotation to them in any way for our system. That's why we say if you have an alter that's more unique to you in your system, you can come up with a name. Just be careful about how you apply it and how you use it, because you really don't understand the effect that it has on them until you really talk to an alter that is kind of in that position. Like with our alter Gavin, he was originally what would have been considered an NPC or a fragmentary part with no purpose whatsoever, and he grew up to being one of our main protectors. So be careful with what you call your alters, because like the saying goes, if you hear it enough, you're going to believe it. And in the long run, if it's something with a negative connotation, it's just going to cause you guys problems later in the long run. Again, going on with that please remember that alters roles can change over time. So if you are having issues with a sexual alter, a persecutor, a perpetrator, an avenger, they can change. It will take time and it is going to take work and patience, but it can happen. We have examples in our system that if you guys would like us to talk about some of the changes that some of our system mates did in order to change roles and things like that, we are happy to put videos out like that. We need to hear from you guys. We need to know what it is that you guys want to see and what you guys would like more information on. But this is basically the end of our message for systems, and we hope that it was something that could be easily taken to heart and not something that's going to be considered offensive. We're just trying to help systems and new systems. That's why we do these videos. That's why we put ourselves out there to be doing stuff like this, because we know what it was like beginning as a system, being in the dark basically, and it's horrible. It's horrible to have that feeling of not being able to relate to anybody else, not being able to really find anything that you can use to apply to you and things like that. So that's why we do these videos, and we hope, like I mentioned before, we hope that this message does get through to people and is something that, if need be, you can go back on and listen to it over and over again if you have to or if you need to. But we just basically wanted to leave that out there for other systems and to let you guys know that we love you. We do care because we do understand what it's like. And it's not fun at first, I'm not gonna lie, but once you get things kind of figured out and start getting things like healthy multiplicity going, it makes it so much easier and life can get better. I know people like to determine and stereotype that people with mental illness can't live a normal life, when that's just quite frankly not true. If you have proper help, if you have the proper attitude toward how things, and give yourself the chance to do it, then it's amazing the things you can do. There are people that are systems, DIDOSDD, that end up going to college, getting master's degrees, and becoming therapists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, psychologists in themselves. So it is possible. And just because you have a mental illness does not mean that you can't do stuff. Now, if your circumstances are limited, that's okay too. Knowing your limits is also being a part of understanding what you can and cannot do. I know for us, we tried college, did not work. It was too much like high school. We didn't like it. So we didn't last, but we're okay with that. I know a lot of people ask us like, well, why didn't you finish? Well, it's like, because we didn't feel like we had to. We didn't feel like we needed to. We already had a job. We were already licensed cosmetologists. So it's just why, we didn't feel like we needed it, but our experiences are not going to be cookie cutter to everybody else's. Just like everybody's mental illness, even if it's under the same name, is not going to be exact with the same symptoms or characteristics, because people are different and people experience things differently. And that's just kind of what we wanted to put out there. But like I said, for you guys that are struggling, system or non-system alike, we love you and we do care. That's why we like to hear from our viewers on what they would want to see and or what they would like researched and stuff like that. But that's basically it for this video and for our little TED Talk, I guess if you want to call it that. But anyway, we hope you guys have a good day or night, whatever part of the world you're from, and we hope to see you guys next time. All right, bye.